All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Car Talk. I'm Ryan, joined as always by Tyler and Lou. We've got a full episode today, but first we've got to give some props to Ty. He's out in California. He's on a different time. He's running on very little sleep, and he is here and ready to go. So shout out to my man Ty for really carrying us and showing up on such short notice and little rest.
I thought about it. I thought about sending a text. I thought about letting you guys carry on. But I pulled myself up out of bed. Plugged in
He's
the
on
mic,
fumes.
and here we are. I'm like clicking into the link. Tops is going public. We got NFTs happening. You got like CVS grading, SGC grading going on.
CVS
People are charging an arm and a leg. Yeah, you pick up a vaccine shot, you get your cards graded, or, a little bit of both at the same time. We're all over the place.
And that was Car Talk. See you guys next week.
Peace.
Now, but first thing we do want to talk about, Tyler mentioned it. We saw the news this morning. Topps going public. Is it Michael Eisner? Is that his name? Old Disney CEO is taking the company public. They're being acquired by. I saw the company name this morning. I forget the group, but evaluation at $1.3 billion. Will be traded on the stock exchange. Ty, Lou, any first thoughts when seeing the news?
My first thoughts were, number one, I had to learn what SPAC stood for. So I learned what that stood for.
What does it stand for? Because I don't know.
Special Project Acquisition something. I forgot what the last one is.
Corporation.
Corporate, maybe something. One of those C's. So that's interesting. I think it'll be interesting to see. It says Q2 or Q3 is when it will close. Until then, I'm interested to see what they focus on inside the doc that they presented to potential investors. That was uploaded to the SEC website. There was a heavy focus on digital, like their apps, digital collectibles, which obviously is to be expected as we move forward here. But I think it'll be interesting to see if they put an additional focus on it over the next few months leading up to their actual go public date.
Yeah. So special purpose acquisition company. That's what a SPAC is. NFTs. It has arrived on the doorstep, and there are going to be a lot of people over the next couple of years that are upset about it, is what I think. I think that in this one article that I read, based on one quote that they took from Eisner, it's going to be both. It's going to be, they're going to equally push digital collectibles and physical collectibles. I think that they're uniquely positioned to capitalize on the NFT space based on IP rights that they have. I think that Michael Eisner is a legend in the IP corporate brand development world. And I think that we've seen a lot of things happen. Grading, NFT, obviously going insane on the collectible front. People saying it's pulling away from the hobby, detracting big money or even smaller money from the hobby. We got Jason, our own producer, taking time to write articles about Vivi because he's flipping like digital Batmans and stuff. And I think what just happened was the most iconic card company in the world, you could argue, just said, you know what? We're going to be part of this NFT thing too. And so it's officially arrived on the doorstep of the hobby. And I think I'm incredibly excited about it. And I just think about that both merging into one, these collectible markets, continuing alternative assets, just becoming a class. I think this is a major move to make the both conversation, the or conversation, not the one or, the and, both and, not the one or the other. I'm excited. And also, It's interesting to see 35% of their revenue comes from their candy business.
That's what I was just literally going to say, is I totally did not realize that is such a big part of Topps business. It says their candy segment includes iconic brands like Bazooka, Ring Pop, and Baby Bottle Pop, and accounts for 35% of its sales.
Shouts to Baby Bottle Pop though. Those joints used to hit. Louis,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about with the Baby Bottle Pop.
I was
Yeah.
a big Baby Bottle Pop guy and a big what was the Fun Dip?
Fun
Big
Dip.
Fun Dip
Fun
guy.
Dip's
Dude, Fun Dip's where it's at. The sugar stick, you got to dip. Oh man,
Crazy.
dude. All
Once you
wired.
pop, the fun don't stop. That's Pringles, but
Yeah, I mean, again, Lou and I were when we talked about Top Shot originally. I'm still, I think Lou and I probably still agree. I just don't understand the NFT thing. It's cool. It just doesn't. I still prefer the physical. So I'm intrigued to see what Topps does with this. It talks a lot on here about.
You know your IG account
Yeah.
that you post a lot of cards on?
Mm-hmm.
Think about a world where you share just the digital things that you own. Instead,
My YouTube page.
That's just what Instagram is.
Yeah, that's my YouTube page.
that's your Instagram too.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say is like the digital collectible thing. It's kind of already happening. Like
You're not gonna get me. You're not gonna get me with that argument.
You're using your Instagram to show your collection anyway, digitally and socially.
This is something I'll have to come around in time with. I think it's cool because of the uniqueness of it. Again, from what I understand, is it's each one is similar to like a one of one where they can't be replicated. That is certainly unique. But I just spending millions of dollars. I don't understand that. It just doesn't do anything for me. Again, I'm not saying I won't learn it in time or be intrigued in time. And just at the moment, I'm trading cards are happening and they're here and I'm focused on that. Again, naive or not, to not be focused on, what could be here 10 years from now. I understand. I'm just doesn't do it for me.
No, I don't think it's naive, and I agree. It doesn't do it for you, but I would just say think of it with an open mind because it's closer, and that's what I think the Topps thing is like people don't realize how much it's going to all look very similar. Like these redemptions, when you redeem and it's an NFT and it's in your Topps wallet, and then you go to National and having the NFT get you into the, after party, it's like quickly going to become all that. And for your business, progressing things forward, I would just keep an open mind because I think people are going to really care about their digital collectibles.
Okay, fair.
And I don't think it's like that tangential away from cards.
Are you surprised? Again, we talked about this kind of before we started. Does the $1.3 billion seem low, high? Does that surprise you at all, considering the PSA sale? Again, those are the only two companies we've seen recently with, the high numbers sell. PSA did 853 million after accepting an offer last November for 700 million. Have you thought about it all about how those might compare?
So I think that essentially what happened was the rights deals. The price was in the rights deals.
Mm-hmm.
And what it shows to me is that they're not the foundation of those rights deals may be a little shaky based on how does the IP translate into digital collectibles versus what they have for print. Which I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm surprised.
Yeah,
one way or the other.
it's the IP of Topps and the rights deals, and I think that it's low-ish compared to PSA, right? 870.
Yeah, it's pretty low.
I'm just thinking if you take 65%, if you take the candy off of Topps, you ended up at $845 million, which is almost identical to what PSA sold for. Curious that the company that makes the cards sells for similar to the company that grades the cards. Again, there's a lot more that goes into this. I'm sure those are not, apples to apples.
Right.
Just curious if you had thought about it at all.
I didn't put it in context of taking out the confection stuff, but it's interesting. The other thing I think we'd be remiss to mention on the top stuff is as they do go public, what does that mean for how they drive profits quarter over quarter? What does that mean for how much product is getting printed, how much product is available? I think that is to be determined. There are two ways to look at it. There is a positive way that they will figure out a smart way to think long-term about their business. And then there is a short-term way of they will just try to drive short-term profits. I think that is to be determined. Want to get that out there.
Yeah.
So,
Digital collectibles, you're going to see Topps, everyone's beloved card company, care equally, if not more, about digital collectibles than physical ones. I think we got to prepare for it.
Okay. So, as I'm rocking my Patriots gear, we got to address there's enough green on this show, man. Everybody here's a Jets fan. Jets traded Darnold.
Can I say one thing? You're really good at like the purposeful, timely outfit.
Oh yeah,
like
he wakes up in the morning, goes in the walk-in closet, and he's like, "What do I got for today?"
Yeah, like what are the boys? What's
the
really,
vibes for today?
Like really bury the boys without them noticing.
Absolutely.
Like right off the front.
Just subtle jabs
all the time.
It's not even that subtle when you immediately like segue on the show and you're like, "Hey, I'm wearing my Patriots shirt."
You didn't say
there's nothing subtle about that.
Then it just becomes obvious, and then it just becomes subtle.
That's fine, but you can't say it's subtle when you're like, "Hey, we're on the podcast. Guess what? I'm wearing a Patriots shirt. The Jets traded their franchise quarterback. Lou wants to cry." There's nothing subtle about that.
So,
I didn't got your dogs all riled. Your dog's a Jets fan too.
Yeah, no, they're not. My wife's not home, so
tough out.
The dogs just want to bark. So, but I think it's worth mentioning. We talked about this yesterday. Jets trade Darnold, right? NFL moves are happening. We're 3 weeks away from the NFL draft, right? We're 6 weeks away from Dallas, or 7 weeks away from Dallas. At the end of the month, you're going to have 2021 product coming out here. By the time Dallas happens, you'll have Flawless and NT football for 2020. Select comes out Wednesday. The next 6 or 8 weeks for the NFL seem like they're going to be just full of new product, new information, new teams, new players, new, investments, as you would say. I mean, people are going to be looking for the next guy to buy. Just wanted to see what's maybe on your guys' mind, as there's so much packed into the next 7 weeks of everything NFL.
Yep. I would say I have been paying particular attention to this because I'm thinking about what I'm trying to do. There was a little bit of a bump a few weeks ago, which I guess is to be expected, right? It kind of lines up with the calendar, like the hot moments in the NFL calendar of like free agency's coming. There's a little bump, a little bit of a downtime right now in terms of like prices are a little bit down from a few weeks back. And it's like, here comes the draft. There'll be a lot more certainty about where things are headed for this upcoming season. And I think we'll see some moves. I would argue that Darnold is a big domino to fall to officially confirm the Jets are probably going quarterback at number 2. Carolina. It's actually interesting for Carolina right now, right? Like, are they going to go QB at 8, or are they going to draft another receiver, draft a lineman, trade down? Like, there's a lot of options for them now. So it's very, very interesting. I'm thinking about quarterbacks, and I'm going to say it again. There's a little more momentum this time. So I think there's something to the skill position players this year. Eventually it's going to happen. I don't know when it will. I think it's something to monitor. Not make a play on immediately, but something to monitor.
Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson. Those are the guys, in my opinion.
That is, Tyler, I couldn't agree more with that. In 2018, we saw 4 quarterbacks go in the top 10 because it went Baker, Darnold, and then you had Rosen, and who was the other one? Was Josh Allen that high?
Josh was the 4th quarterback taken. Baker, Darnold,
5 in the
Rosen.
first round because you had Lamar go 30th or 31st or whatever.
Yeah, it was Baker, Darnold, Rosen, Allen, Lamar.
This reminds me so much of that year with a few discrepancies. One, the quarterback at the top is much more sought after than anybody in 2018. Baker at the time wasn't expected to be the number 1 pick. He's, I think decent now, but Trevor Lawrence is going to be huge at the top. But I realistically think the first 4 picks will all be quarterbacks.
Yeah. So actually, you know what I wanted to ask you, Ryan? if you're getting select right now and you're going to pull an XRC for quarterbacks, do you want QB3 or do you want QB5?
I want QB1 times
Okay.
10. That's
Great.
what I want.
Let's
Wherever the value will, like, again, if is QB3 800 and QB5 is 200, because I'll take 4 of the QB5s, right? If they're 150 and 160 each, I'll take the higher QB.
interesting.
Yeah,
Because I think you're in a scenario here where it could be like Mac Jones going third, it could be Lance going third, it could be Fields. Like any of those three could come out in any order, I feel like right now.
I would love to clip this and find out what happens 3 or 4 weeks from now.
Yeah.
I think it's smoke to get Fields to fall.
Hmm.
You think it's smoke? But then why wouldn't SF just come out and say, here's who we're taking?
Because what if the Jets want him at 2?
Pretty clear they don't.
Sure, I'm not saying they do. I'm just
But even if they do, okay.
yeah. I just
Force the Jets to take him.
What is Allen's PSA 10? Josh Allen's PSA 10 doing compared to Darnold right now?
substantial.
Pretty sure he's over 700.
Are you looking up Darnold or Allen?
I'm looking up Allen. I know.
Okay, I'll look up
I know
Darnold.
Sam is like 250 based on the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
The last Josh Allen PSA 10 did $1,025.
Yeah, Darnold's are about 240 range.
It's about right.
1,200 and
$1,025.
So about $1,000 versus 250.
1025.
So the 4 Darnolds or 1 Allen.
Darnold's a buy. Darnold's a buy for sure.
Not necessarily, because he does potentially have a quarterback competition to deal with Bridgewater.
They also play in the same division as the Buccaneers.
And the Falcons.
So you're hoping for a wild card spot. Right? Again, let's think futuristic here. I'm not saying Darnold's good. I have a lot of Darnold stuff. I think Darnold is talented. Look at what happened when Tannehill left Adam Gase, right? He was Ty's MVP pick. I mean, Gase is a QB ruiner. So do I think Darnold is talented? Yes. But the same reason I think Justin Herbert's talented, I'm just not picking you to get past the Chiefs every year.
Mm-hmm.
So sure. You're going to go to a wild card game and play, in Lambeau and pick you to beat the Packers, who might be the 4th seed? Probably not.
Yeah, that's fair.
You going out to Seattle and beating Russell Wilson in the wild card game? Probably not.
It's all bad.
I think the interesting play, and this is what I'm most excited for, is when Dallas comes around, you're going to have all of the big 2021 or 2020 stuff out with NT Flawless. I believe all of those will be out by then. You have selects coming out this Wednesday. So you have tons of high-end, desirable 2020 stuff with Burrow, Herbert, Hurts, Tua, all those guys. And then you'll also have the new stuff. You'll have Prizm draft picks, Leaf Metal. You'll have products with 2021 with Fields, Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Waddle, Najee Harris, Devonta Smith, Jamar Chase, Micah Parsons, all those guys. And you're going to have – I just think football will be on fire. And it's also the exact same time the NBA playoffs start. Dallas in May will be wild.
Yeah.
It's going to be super busy.
My hotel's down the block.
Pain. You could stay in my room on Sunday.
Oh, I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Here to help. Here to bring value.
All right, so let's transition into a topic Lou and I have been talking about for the last 24 hours. I think we've got to address the current grading situation. We went live last week when PSA completely halted grading, except for Super Express or Walkthrough. And I've mentioned before we're going to run SGC submissions. We've talked on the show about SGC, HGA, SG, CGC, and Beckett really being kind of the 4 options at the moment. GMA, if you want to include them as well. Lou, thoughts on the current situation? Because I know where I'm going to lean on this, and Lou and I differ greatly on this. So Ty, I guess I'll start with you. What's your current state of? You get some new rookie cards from Select tomorrow. You got some Prizm basketball from last week. You maybe got some Prizm soccer EPL from a couple weeks ago. What's your current thought process like for, I got some cards, I want to grade them. This is what I'm thinking.
I'm thinking about PSA Super Express. First thing, do they fit that? Are they worth me sending there?
Agreed.
And then I'm thinking about Beckett and SGC and turnaround times and what I'm looking to do with the card. Meaning,
yep.
Am I looking to sell it as soon as humanly possible once it's graded? Then I'm going to the fastest option, which is why I immediately say like Super Express, because
100%.
$300 on a card that will sell at 800 as a PSA 9, like
I think it's
a good, it's still a good option.
Yeah,
and I think
but I think it's worth pointing out. I want to be very transparent about this. It's not really $300. A lot of group submitters charge $375 to $400. Like if you submit one card, the return shipping from PSA on one card is not like $5. It's like $70. Like you're
so $500.
Yeah, so like
it's good to know. Talk about it.
But I'm just saying, like, this is why group submitters work out as well, because they submit 50 cards Super Express, and the shipping is spread across all of those cards, not just your one. So I hear the $300, and I'm like, that's not really realistic. You're not actually paying $300. You're paying closer to $380, $400 for it to get it there, get it back, all of that stuff. So I agree with you 100%, Ty. I just wanted to be like, I think it's naive to say that it's $300.
I'm happy you say that. Amazing. That is a great point. And thank you. And still my first move.
100% agree.
Then from there, I'm looking at Beckett and SGC, and those are the only. I know there was one episode probably about 6 weeks ago that, we started to dabble and throw some HGA smoke out there. No, I'm not thinking about ever sending a card to that company personally.
So I agree with you 100%. And I know Lou will agree the same. We all agree 100%. The first thing you do when you get a card is say, hey, is this worth sending to PSA at $375 to $400? Lou, agreements on that?
Yep. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Are you still sending Super Express stuff right now? Like, did you go to a halt or?
Nope. Still doing Super Express.
And cards are coming in?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Again, now we're talking I won't give numbers, but they're not even comparable to what it was before, right? Mm-hmm. When PSA is doing everything else, we're talking.
What was your lowest pricing option before? Ever? Speaking general terms, no, like just before.
Like in early March?
Yeah. It was like
$25 for anything TCG or 2018 and older. So it would have been like the modern stuff. So like, your 75 tops baseball.
So it's like 12, it's like 11x the amount of cards that would need to go through to make like roughly the same dollar amount. You got to remove the margins on the shipping and whatnot. Just trying to think if it was $30 and $300, you could take 9x, not good at math, less cards in, and it would be the same total revenue. That's what people need to think about with PSA.
Didn't follow you there, but okay.
Like if you were like, I'm getting 25% the amount of cards,
mm-hmm.
That would be more dollar value getting graded Super Express than 100% capacity at $30 a card.
He's saying you're making the same profit, but the price point's higher, so your margins are
revenue for PSA.
Yeah,
I'm alluding to the fact that I think that they will remain an expensive service.
Agreed. Yeah. I think we all talked about it on the live. This is where Lou and I were talking. Is Lou would not send. We got to be transparent. Lou doesn't want to send something to SGC, and my argument is the same argument I've made before. Jay said he's going to try to find the clip. about time value of money and flipping something in a shorter period, because not everything is going to PSA as $375, $380. It's not going to happen. I asked Lou, you get a Prizm base LaMelo. Lou's first thought, Super Express. Okay, but Lou's very next point, this is fair. What about Anthony Edwards? Because I wouldn't send them Super Express. So the option really becomes, if you get, let's say, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, and Joe Burrow select rookies tomorrow, where are you going to send those? Lou might tell you Super Express for Herbert, but Burrow and Hurts might not make sense. So then the argument's going to become, we're going to roll it out at $37 a card for SGC in 20 business days. That's going to be an option. The only comparable option at the moment, guaranteed, would be through Beckett. Similar turnaround time, might be a couple days sooner, would be $165, or trying to get in with HGA. Those are really the only comparable options at the moment.
If you want to submit immediately, those are your options.
Correct.
Okay. So let's start there.
Yep. My
if
point
you don't want
is,
to wait a few weeks, a few months, that's what you got to do. Keep going.
Yep. My point is I just don't think that people are not going to want to grade cards and wait 3 months for PSA to say, yep, the $30 option is still available for 1 year turnaround time. I think the argument is going to be made that if I could send a card to SGC for $37 and have it back in less than 1 month, likely closer to 2 weeks, at $37, I know Lou's argument is, what if you get a 9? You're not going to have the resale value. Agreed. It's
What's
not
$37?
That's what we'll charge to have a card back in about 15 to 25 business days.
Okay.
I think people are going to still want to grade.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying it makes sense for everything. I completely agree. PSA Super Express is still the first option, but you're not going to pull a Joe Burrow select rookie and a Jalen Hurts select rookie and an Anthony Edwards Prizm rookie and be like, I'm going to wait 3 months. I just don't see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think the argument is, if you get in, let's say you buy 2 boxes of first off the line select, you buy a box of Prizm basketball, and you buy 2 Prizm EPL breakaway soccer boxes. You rip all this, it's $5,000, $6,000 in product. You rip all this, and you get a bunch of cool cards. To maximize your money in cards right now, even if you got in breaks or you bought lots at a show, you're maximizing money grading cards. I just think it's, if you wait, look at Loose Cat.
It's insane.
Look,
he's out of his mind right now.
If my concern is waiting 3 months for PSA to come back and there not be an option, right? What's the option going to be, Ty? $160 for 2 months?
Yeah.
I'm just going to stick with the fact, again, not every card's going there. When PSA opens back up, I'll send tons of cards to PSA. PSA is just a great option. I just think this is going to move SGC closer to the 2 argument to Beckett at $37 in the same turnaround as $165. I just don't see the difference in the BGS grade versus the SGC grade at the same price at the moment. I just don't think you can justify spending 4x the money it's not going to sell for 4x the price.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly not.
Do you at a table at a card show? Because yes, grading, sending cards is one thing, and then there's the selling of or moving or collectability of said cards. Do you think there's going to be a change on that side of the equation?
My argument would be, if it's the only thing out there, does that make it more desirable? That's again, I don't know the answer. I'm answering a question with a question. Tyrese Halliburton Prizm base cards. Okay.
Yeah.
Not somebody you're sending Super Express. Most likely, some people will just, again, be low pop, get the cards back. But my thought is, and this is where I think this has been a cycle before. PSA comes out 3 months from now and they say, we're only doing a cards that it's going to cost you a minimum of $100. Okay. So Tyrese Halliburton becomes $100 to grade it. There's not very many of them. It's so expensive. You get them back and the pops are really low. Like original Pokemon type numbers, less than 500, right? Does that raise the price of those singles and put demand on some of these other companies because those prices are so outrageous? If the only thing you can buy for the next 3 months is a Tyrese Halliburton SGC 9.5 or an HGC 9.5 or HGA 9.5, excuse me, or a Beckett 9.5, is the price between those three, like, I don't know. I think about that a lot. What is the market going to say the demand is for those grades? Because I think the days of you seeing everything in a PSA slab are done. I just don't think that's realistic. Yeah, like this is an example I've given this a lot. In early January, somebody submitted 20 DK Metcalf second-year Prizms through us to PSA. Those days are done. I just believe that to be the case.
Aren't we trying to solve the issue of there's too many slabs? Because all you're doing is creating more slabs.
Why are you trying to solve? Why is that an issue? If the market
because we both agree that it's stupid to slab and try to resell DK Metcalf second-year Prizms. Or do we not agree on that? Because that's what I think.
I'm just saying, when Justin Fields comes out, if you told me I could have an SGC 10-10 contenders draft,
that's not what we're talking about. I'm not talking about Justin. I'm talking about
collectability, because the reason you grade cards is for the end. You're going to have an end consumer, or the cards have no value at all. That's Tyler's whole point, like he mentioned earlier about shoes.
Do you think there's a lot of? What do you think the viability of a DK Metcalf second-year Prizm base is?
There will be more DK Metcalf Prizm graded than there will be end consumers.
Right. But so now what you're saying, but we could say whatever we want. The end game of the whatever the other grade price is that's just going to go to there. So it's not going to stop getting slabbed.
I'm not saying that's what I would grade, though.
That's fine. But the ultimate end game is that the math is the math. So if people are going to submit it, they're still going to be in slabs.
Agreed. My argument about grading with SGC or HGA or a lesser company isn't about grading that card. I think that card is not something you would grade regardless. So my argument is not the main tier guys. I'm saying we've become cars here. PSA is a Lamborghini. Other companies are Toyota and Honda, and we're not on the same scale. So I'm not saying grade the DK Metcalf second-year Prizm. I'm saying the market still will want an Anthony Edwards graded card, or a Joe Burrow Select graded card, or a Tua Tagovailoa graded card. And the option doesn't make sense for PSA. If you submit it to PSA Super Express and you get a 9, you're getting smoked. Hundreds of dollars you're losing. Agreed?
Agreed. Yeah.
I think if you do an SGC 9, or an HGA 9, you're getting smoked as well.
My argument would be I could grade 10 Tuas for the same price as one PSA Super Express, and average on those 10, if they're reviewed, right? We offer reviews, other people offer reviews. If they're reviewed and you feel good about them being 9, 5s, or 10s, average on those, you'll make more money on the 10 you grade, even if you get multiple 9s, rather than submitting one to PSA and hoping it's a 10. I'll take the 10 average over the 1 every day of the week on that card. I'm saying on a LaMelo Ball Prizm might be a different conversation. On a Justin Herbert Prizm Gold Auto BGS, or a Prizm Gold Auto Rookie 10, PSA Super Express, 100%, I won't argue that. My argument is going to be on the cards that don't have the $1,500 resale value. I think the smaller stuff, the base rookies, that's what people want graded, and that's where HGA, SGC, and some of these other companies have real market potential.
Velocity. Do you see anyone in the market buying HGA though today and going forward in a serious manner to collect HGA? Just asking.
And this is that's what I tried to answer a minute ago with the question is, will people buy it when it's the only thing available?
I think if I go on eBay and I search HGA sold cards, I think 80% of those people are buying them because of the hope that they can put them in a different plastic covering.
That's always what it comes down to for me. Ultimately, we're always trying to get back to the other thing.
I disagree with that.
Okay.
Do you think people are buying it to collect?
Everybody views PSA as the grading company, right? It is right now. There's not an argument that PSA is the grading company.
Beckett is there too.
PSA is on its own level. SGC and Beckett are closer to each other than they are to PSA. PSA is in a world of its own. It's not even comparable. Nothing else is on the same level as PSA. So my argument is, if you think PSA is the one, the all, the holy, if you think it's PSA, are you viewing? You're not. The reason they don't sell as well as a 9.5 or a 10 is because you don't think they're the same level as PSA. So why would you crack them out of that case if you view their standards are not as high to try to grade it with a company whose standards are much higher?
I think people are
like a logic.
collecting Beckett, though. Like, I think people are. The end consumer is sitting around saying, "I'm going to have these for the rest of my life." Beckett, some SGC, but Beckett way more than SGC, and I think PSA and Beckett are.
I disagree with that.
Yeah, that's not true. I don't think that's true at all.
Just because they've been there in the past doesn't mean they'll retain it in the future, right? Like, I can submit 2 cards to SGC through our way at $74, have them back in 1 month. We charge currently $65 to send it to Beckett, and it's back in, they're telling people 6+ months. So are you going to send 2 Joe Burrow select rookies, SGC, and have them back in 1 month, or one to Beckett and have it back in 6 months? So when people submit to SGC or to HGA, I think those are the 2 comparables on the bottom at the moment. I think the argument, because the only reason I say SGC is because they're not capped, right? Like, you could submit 10,000 cards, submit 3,000 cards to HGA a week, and it's 5 per person. So those are that's why I use that example.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. Again, it just comes down to where does the dust all settle?
Yeah, very, very true. What happens when the market, when there's 15,000 more cards of SGC graded on the market in the next 6 weeks? Because let's just be honest, in the next 2 months, let's say a week, June 1st, are there going to be more Prizm basketball cards graded PSA on the market or SGC?
That's not fair, though, Ryan.
I'm just, but
that's not a fair comparison, though.
But I'm not saying that the market will accept it. I'm just saying what will happen when that happens.
I think we're running into an issue where we're talking about like short-term gains versus like patience, and like what is the long-term value of a slab card.
100% agree. I don't disagree.
And why there's diminishing returns over a long period of time when these are just financial arbitrage services.
When you're talking about short-term gains, that's not a long-term solution in any form. When you're talking about short-term grade to flip is not a long-term solution in any way. So I don't think it's fair to say how many cards are going to be available in 6 weeks or 2 months or whatever the fuck, because that's what's the only option is the thing right now. So that's not fair.
So Ty, let me ask you this thing, because I know what Lou's opinion is. He would not choose to. Do you think that the demand in grading will lead to more collectability on their? You see what I'm saying? If there's a lot more cards graded in the next year from SGC, right? Let's say PSA doesn't ever bring back an option that's cheaper. Do you think that will have any impact on collectability of the slab? Lou does not. I know Lou does not. Lou will not grade with SGC.
I don't think I don't think the modern demand cares to collect those assets as much. And I also then I'm sitting here and thinking and saying, well, Topps, Michael Eisner,
I'm
Disney,
just going to say the
NFTs.
same exact thing. You're telling me that somebody doesn't collect something now, so it can't be collected in the future. But the argument is the same thing.
No, what I'm saying is that Topps doesn't want their cards going to these companies. Because why can't, like, they're just giving up margins, and these companies are smart. Once you release the one-of-one Trevor Lawrence like digital collectible and it's more of a thing, they're going to keep pushing that. PSA has been, I think, defined as like that authentication matters. Beckett, I think, as well. I think SGC is a third in there, and I think the rest are simply arbitrage, financial arbitrage machines, and won't get there.
I would also like to point out the other thing I didn't get to say this before.
We got to go to make a play too.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up real quick. The SPAC thing with Topps, I looked at all of their licensing, and you had mentioned the licensing aspect makes it kind of soft. When are we getting to a place here, especially if digital is really going to become a long-term solution, which obviously it is?
Mm-hmm.
Why would the UFC not just do it themselves?
What do you mean? Trading cards?
At what point, digital collectibles, why would they not just bring everything in-house? At what point is, because we talk about PSA as a middleman company, like all like Topps, Penny, like they're all middlemen. It's just a matter of when does it become financially viable for the league to manage the process themselves, because really all they're doing is outsourcing something right now. So at what point does the barrier, like does the cost become low enough where it's viable for them to do it themselves, or will it never be that? And I don't know, because right now it just feels like it's just a matter of a trade-off of the money they're paying, the money they're taking in from Topps is enough for them to not do it themselves, the add-on of the work of managing all that. So I don't know where that is, but that's just something I was thinking about as well.
Okay. All right. So we can talk more about this. We could probably do a live one day this week and talk more about this. Again, that's the one thing I like so much about the show is we all have very different opinions on this.
I'm very much looking forward to what the scenario you brought up of June 1, Dallas, Prizm, slabs, LaMelo Ball. What's going to be on the market and how is that going to be perceived?
Yeah. Only time will tell, right? And again, I think the best part about this is I'm not right, Lou's not right, and you're not right. You know who will be right? The market. The market will decide on this, and we'll find out from this 6 months from now, 6 years from now. We'll know more then. Everybody has an opinion now, and the only thing we'll tell is time. So that's, like I said, that's what I enjoy so much about this. But again, Tyler mentioned it, play of the week. We are officially ready for play of the week, excuse me. Play of the week, again, is brought to you by eBay, your number one stop for all things cards and collectibles. So as always, if you're new here, this is a segment we do where Jay introduces a couple plays of the week submitted by the users, you, or the listeners, you. You can submit plays to us via Instagram at Card Talk Pod. But essentially, Tyler, Lou, and I have not seen these. Jason vets them, picks 4 or 5 of these, and we determine which one is the winner.
Let's go, Jay. What do we got, Jay? Big day.
All right. So it says, this is from Nikhil. It says, I picked up the Squirtle Trainer Deck B PSA 10 this past week after Jeremy mentioned it on your live and looking at the pop, talking to collectors like, don't know who that is,
SMP, probably a big collector.
Okay. Trainer Deck B seems to have the same features of historical desirability that Top Sun currently has, but has more documentation and is rare compared to being scarce. I can see a similar run-up of these, like no number cards, and I will probably be buying more soon. Lou, you're the Pokemon expert. Thoughts on this?
Yeah, so Jeremy talked about it a little bit, just for anyone who isn't aware. So these Trainer Deck Bs were, the first things that were released in the United States. I believe, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they were used in like early battles at like collector stores and like GameStop and stuff like that.
They pack pulled?
No, so it was like literally it came in like a set, basically.
Okay.
And so they're extremely rare, and the reason they're so hard to come by in high grade is because they were all played heavily. So they're extremely, extremely rare. I agree. My question, the question becomes like the positive view is they're extremely rare. And if you were a kid in the 90s and early 2000s who was playing at those events early on, those are extremely collectible items to you. And especially if you love Pokemon, or if you're a big Pokemon collector and you love the history, right? That's the upside of that. The downside is like, why would you spend money on that when you can just buy a first edition 10 instead? So like, that's the question I have. But I'm a big fan of Trainer Deck B. I own some Trainer Deck B as well, so big fan.
I don't know much about this, so I'm not going to speak to it. Lou says he's a fan. I'm a fan. Probably won't win my play of the week, but Lou's the Pokemon guy. I trust a lot of his instincts on these, so looks like a cool play, and if Lou likes it, I like it. Jay, what's the next one?
Wow, crush Ty. No thoughts.
Ty's in California. He's still waking up, right? I mean, he's had a long morning.
No, I'm looking at the demand of Squirtle on eBay right now. But
next, Jay.
All right, so here we've got, this is from Life with Allie. It says, got this card back in 2017 for Christmas from my parents. They bought a box for $20. I opened them a few days later and put them in sleeves immediately. Thought I would try my hand at selling some of them. This would go for a lot more if it was graded, but I'm okay with what I got for it and excited for my first sale.
Let's go.
That's amazing.
So I like this because this is what Tyler is so it always preaches, and it's about repetition, right? So Tyler always says, and I got to give him props for this because he brings up a good point. He's like, you know, it's easy to say you have $5,000 worth of cards, but until you sell them, until you realize that value, you don't really have that, right? And there's a lot that goes into it. So I like this. Again, I think it's interesting to point out here, Ty, that she mentioned I could have graded this. I chose not to.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to sell it. This is what Tyler and Lou and I have talked about before with PSA not being open. Not everybody's going to choose SGC. Not everybody's going to choose HGA. Not everybody's going to choose Beckett. Some people, a portion of the market, will wait for PSA or not grade at all. So I think this is a good play.
Yeah, great play. I respect it. Shout out Allie. Shout out Women of the Hobby. I also. Dude, I thought I would try my hand at selling. This would go for a lot more if it was graded, but I'm okay. And it was my first sale. I think she'll probably be grading. I think the taste of that margin is super nice. It looks like someone probably picked up Dinger, Patty Mahomes raw and is going to submit it. Do you know what that does in a PSA 9 or 10?
I'm looking right now.
I think it's a good amount more.
A PSA 9 did 550. So and a 10 did 1597.
So
1899, 1800. Yeah, I mean it does.
So you buy that for 300.
Yeah.
Super Express for the season 370, 670. You're making kind of a bet of either $1,000 upside or maybe
a loss.
Break even.
Yeah, a loss of 100, 120. Plus 1,000.
Assuming it doesn't go up
not too bad.
In April or now in May.
Yep.
June.
All right, Jay, next one. All right, so this is from Dave Kahana. It says bought and graded these for $15 each. He bought these in January of 2019. They're Jay-Z Topps Chrome Refractors. He sold a PSA 10 yesterday for $6,800. I mean,
a big fan of the play. Big fan of the play, and I like the payment receipt. It's a nice.
You know what I like the most about this? This is something I couldn't preach enough. If you like something, this is what Lou and I've had a lot of conversations about this, where Lou's like, I trusted my gut. I didn't trust my gut, and I didn't make a play. This guy trusted his gut and bought 3 of them. So if you really trust your gut,
incredibly
and you really
low,
buy multiple.
Bro, he got one for $1.07.
$1.07, bro. Like it might have been the one he sold. He paid $1 for it, and then he sold it for $6,800. I know Dave. So I know Dave. I've talked to Dave a bunch. He's been talking about these Jay-Z cards for months. It might have been over a year at this point.
Shout out
He's been a big believer in these. Obviously, we've seen those sales. What did that one sell? It was like $100 grand or something like that.
Crazy. The auto?
Yeah, the really rare Jay. So this is a big one. I'm pumped for Jay. I'm pumped for Dave. This is a big sale.
Yep. Hard to argue, right? Buy something for,
can't argue against $16 to $6,000.
$50 in total or less on these cards. Spent $15 each to grade 3 of them. So he's got less than $100 in all 3 of these total, and sold his first one for $6,800 and has, assuming, 2 left. So that's pretty. It's pretty good. Even if they're 9s, even if they're 8s, still pretty good. All right, Jay, what's next? Okay. I'm hoping that golden auction 100K JCL could bring more attention to the market. This dude bought it?
This is the guy who bought it.
I'm confused. I don't know what I'm looking at.
It's the dude that bought it.
So the guy that sold it the end us and the guy that bought it the end us.
They're in the same make-up play.
Wait, what? This is the dude that I'm hoping it could bring more.
Somebody bought at 6,800. Ruthie's card collection bought it at 6,800 as their make-up play, and they said, "I'm hoping that the golden auction 100K Jay-Z sale could bring more attention to the celebrity market."
And so he's buying a bunch of them. Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to mention it on the other side, but like, I'm a huge fan of these cards.
You like this card?
I do
I
like the
like this
card.
card
Yeah,
a lot. Yeah.
I think it's a large financial investment. I'm not gonna pretend it's not. It's 20,000 or $15,000+ so it's a lot of cash. But I'm a big fan of these. I think they're definitely a long term hold. I can't believe that we got the buyer and the seller in the same mega play, but here we are.
Yeah, I mean, Dave clearly won.
Is there one more, Jay? Or is that it? There's one more. All right, so this is
Mm.
from Ryan Nolan. It says, sold a few cards over the past weekend for a decent profit. Have been eyeing the LeBron 2008 Topps Chrome Refractor for a while. Saw PWCC at 210s ending soon. Have never had more than 3K to spend on a card. Went with my gut and bid 9K on bid 9K. Ended up getting it for 8,500. Grail achieved with an insanely high ceiling. Lou?
I love this card. This is my second or third favorite LeBron card of every year that he released. I think right now is a very good buy time for LeBron. Obviously, everything LeBron right now I think is down across the board,
Agreed.
except for his 2021 Prizm, which is another thing in itself. But yeah, I mean, Ryan mentions it, right? Like a lot of times what happens on PWCC is multiple cards from multiple of the same card get released, and one or two of them are going to go low. It happened with Charizard. I know specifically because I was paying attention. It happened with Charizard recently.
The
A
10?
couple weeks ago. No, there were the 9s. There was multiple 9s. I think one did like super low.
Gotcha.
So I'm a big fan. 8,500 is a good buy on this. I don't know the recent purchase prices. I would love to see them. But as
The
we head
08
into the
set is
playoffs
so
here,
sweet.
yeah, it's a great card. It's a really, and this is the year of the Kobe card too, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so this is a great card. I'm a big fan, and it's a refractor.
Yeah,
Fun.
such a great photographer. Such a great set.
Yeah, the set was so sweet. Just with the team design and then
Yeah.
like some of the color variants and whatnot.
Yeah, if you believe in cards and you believe in LeBron, this is a awesome card long term.
Mhm.
This is probably going to be one of LeBron's more iconic, just non-autographed type cards.
Mhm.
Just this photo again, like Lou said, with the Kobe still in that set, this set will do. And the other thing about this, I just thought about this. We talk a lot about first year of something. We don't talk enough about last year. This is the last year of Topps Chrome basketball. There's Topps Chrome in 2009, 2010 Topps, which is when Curry's a rookie. But the only cards in there that, to my understanding, I would love Chris, a House of Jordans, or one of our listeners who's big into basketball to confirm this. But my understanding is the only Chrome in 9-10 basketball is rookies. So I believe this would be the last full year of Topps Chrome basketball. Again, because 9-10 had Curry and had those guys inserted into Topps, and then Topps went away for basketball. So if that's the case, that's a very interesting thing that this is the LeBron last, because assuming Topps doesn't get their license back and LeBron has the upper deck contract, when LeBron retires, Panini won't make any more cards of him. So this could be the last LeBron Topps Chrome ever. For a guy that only has 6 years of Topps Chrome cards, this would be his last one.
Yeah. So this card sold for all-time high of 10.5 public sales, obviously 10.5 on March 21st. So 8,500 feels pretty good to me. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I feel very good about all things LeBron.
Yeah, he said it's a Grail card, so it doesn't sound like he's going to be flipping it anytime soon. So yeah, let's say he flips it 20 years from now, I feel pretty good about this card and the LeBron market long term.
It sold for $443 on May 30th, 2019. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
All right, what do we got?
The winner to me has to be the Jay-Z, has to be Dave.
Yeah, I think it's
Spend less than $100 and turn it into 6,800 with 2 remaining. I mean, again, that's my whole thing on this is, some of these are buys and that's super cool. And some of these are like, hey, these could be good long-term, but this is making a play. This is buying something, flipping, grading it, having the patience, having the, hey, I trust my gut. I'm going to buy multiple of these. I love everything about it. So to me, it's Dave, and it's my clear winner.
I agree.
Aligned. Nice work,
congratulations, Dave.
Have a day.
So Tyler has to dip. Lou and I've got a couple things to wrap up here. Ty, appreciate you joining us. But
Peace.
Play of the Week is brought to you by eBay, your number one stop for all things cards and collectibles. See you, Ty.
Bye, Tyler.
But Lou, before I get into this week's releases, did you see the Dwayne the Rock Johnson sell?
No.
Sold on Golden, PSA 10.
Oh, the one that was the topic of much conversation. What did it sell for?
88.
Huh. That's after BP?
I believe so. So. Interesting.
Intriguing.
Figured I would mention it to you. All right, but this week's release is pretty. This is a substantial release week. You've got Tribute Baseball. You're a baseball guy. You got Black Diamond Hockey, Select Football, 2021 Leaf Draft Blaster boxes, Panini Contenders Optic Football. All of that comes out this week. Anything stand out?
Select is the obvious answer here. Do we have any more Tribute Baseball? I need to become more aware of, because the more I've thought about baseball, I want to really triple down on baseball in terms of collecting and things that I like. There is no high-end baseball product. It doesn't exist in the way that's not true. It's not. I don't think about a high-end baseball product the way I think about a Flawless or a Immaculate or a,
because the
National
high-end
Treasure.
ones aren't licensed and don't get the resale value that they would.
Yeah,
with tops.
like it's just not there. So something like a Tribute feels like a next level of product.
Yeah, Dynasty, Transcendent. Those are
Transcendent's the other one.
Yeah, $27,000 though.
Yeah, like that's the kind of stuff I need to start getting more aware of, because if you choose to believe that there's upside in baseball, like I do, something like that feels like there's opportunity there. Excuse me. So that's on my mind. But Select Football is obviously the number one.
Is this the year Select passes Prizm?
So I was talking to someone recently. I forget who it was. I forget the name of the person. Next week I will remember it and I will bring it up here. But recently, I believe Select has like overtaken Optic in terms of like price points, and even Prizm from time to time. I think Select premieres are starting to sell for very, very interesting prices.
I think when we'll really know the answer is how the market reacts with Select retail.
Mm-hmm. Do we know what are they doing? Is there anything different? Do we know what they're doing with that, or like?
I don't know anything about it. I've just heard it's coming. That's all I actually know about it.
I'm so intrigued. Like I think about it daily now.
So I think that will be interesting, right? Is there a lot more of it? Does that hurt the resale value? And is that the big argument with Prizm versus Select? Is there's only ever been one Select product, Select Hobby or Select First Off the Line, right? Like that's a variation. This year you'll have hybrid boxes. You'll also have retail, right? Does producing more of it hurt the resale value because it's readily available? I think it's an interesting thing to watch, because I prefer a Premier. I would much rather have a silver field level than a Prizm silver. Don't know. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not saying in terms of resale value. I'm just saying in terms of my personal collection. What would I enjoy? I would say the field level.
You know what's funny about Select? It has all three. It has the field level premium. It has the mid end, Premier. Concourse or Premier or whatever. Yep. And then there's like the base cards, which I think
Concourse.
You've always said this as well. Select was meant to be the real one, right? Prizm just became it.
Yep.
So there's something to that. I continue to love Select. I've been thinking a lot about Select plays that I want to make for this season, whether that's Kyler,
XRCs.
Daniel Jones. I mean, XRCs are
bonus in a nice product. It's set
one
up
per hobby box, right? Is that what it is, or one per case?
Typically 3. From my understanding, I would love to confirm this with Panini or someone. My understanding is in the past they've been 1 per 4 boxes.
So what is that, like 2 per case?
3 per case.
3 per case. Oh, it's a 12-box case. Okay. Interesting. So case breaks are really the play if you're going to do a break, right? If you're someone like me who wants to participate.
Yes. Yeah. We won't case break it. It's just one of those things. We'll do it with a bunch of mixers. Keeps costs down because Select is so expensive, right? So you'll do a expensive $1,500 to $2,000 box of Select with some other stuff to get more value in there. But yeah, if you're into Select, you're gonna have the best shot at XR season with more product. So
yeah, I am very interested. I'm really locked in on Select.
Yep, I agree. All right, guys, that is all we got for this week's episode. We will see you next week on Card Talk. Peace.